What got you interested in natural resources?
Well, I come from a long line of loggers. My dad logs, my grandpa logged, so I've always been in the woods and I've always been interested. And I always wanted to protect the forests so they're here for the next generation, the generation after and after. So that's why I chose natural resources.
Okay, so in the field of natural resources, what kind of jobs could you be looking at?
Mostly the wildlife ecology and wildlife biology, although I like forestry and working with conservation of endangered species, plant and animal alike. I mostly want to work with wolves to study their behavior, radio telemetry, and radio collaring and stuff, but mostly wolves and conservation.
Okay, what does tech do related to your degree?
Well, there's actually a lot of opportunities to get involved depending on your interests. I'm a wildlife ecology and management major, so I'm a member of the Wildlife Club, which is actually a chapter of the Wildlife Society, which is a national organization. We have a forestry club, and they do a lot. They travel around the country and go to various meetings and other activities. There's a lot to do outdoors here. There's the ski hill, which if you're interested in that, you can do that for free. And the Keweenaw Peninsula has pretty much anything that you could imagine in terms of outdoors activity.
Why did you choose to come to tech?
When I was in about 8th or 9th grade, I was really into animals and stuff like that. Well, I always have been, but I wanted a career in like wildlife biology or zoology or something like that. And one day at work, my dad was talking to one of his coworkers, and he was telling his coworker about like the stuff I liked. And the guy was like, "Oh, and she looked at Michigan Tech for college?" And my dad was like, "Michigan Tech? I thought that was an engineering school." And then he found out they had a really good wildlife ecology program up here. And a couple years later, we came up for a tour, and I was like, "Yes, this is where I want to go."
During your first year at Tech, you'll take a class called Vegetation of North America. Every week, you learn a set of trees and are quizzed on the trees from the week previous. Usually the quizzes are outside, but when they are indoors, they'll take place in this room, the Lab for Vegetation of North America. Indoor quizzes will be done on Riker mounts, such as these, cones, or fruits, and wood samples, whereas outdoor quizzes will be performed on living plants.
Identify this tree. Its bark is very papery. Next, now identify this one. Its needles are in fascicles of 5. Next, identify this tree by its leaves. Okay. Next, we have this pine tree, which its needles are arranged in fascicles of 2. And lastly, identify this tree by its leaves and its samara. Its leaves are very sugary. Okay, that is it. So tree 1 was a paper birch, and its Latin name is Betula paperifera. Tree 2 was a white pine, which is Pinus strobus. Tree 3 is a red maple, which is Acer rubrum. Tree 4 was a red pine, which is Pinus resinosa. Then last but not least, the last one was a sugar maple, and it's Acer saccharum.